Welcome to the Executive Playbook, the show where we go inside the minds of founders, operators, and investors building what's next in business and technology. I'm your host, Jay Twitty. Today, we're diving into how software leaders can harness data analytics more effectively to drive better product decisions, user outcomes, and strategic direction. My guest is Ankur Dhawan, founder of 0 to 1, a company focused on scaling digital products and data strategy for startups and enterprise teams alike. Ankur brings a wealth of experience as a product leader, advisor, and builder, and he's someone who's constantly pushing the limits on how companies apply insights to move faster and smarter. I believe he's based out of India and works globally with product-driven organizations through 0 to 1. Ankur, thank you so much for being here. For listeners who may be new to your work, could you maybe introduce yourself in your own words?
Sure. I'm based out of New York, so
Okay,
that's a little
gotcha.
different.
Gotta fix that.
Well, Jay, it's nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Um, I have been working with 0 to 1 for the past 2.5 years, along with my co-founders, who are based out of the Netherlands as well as in India. We are AI native, AI first data analytics and product development company. Um, my background is spent most of my career at Amex and then at Amazon, and then had my own startup that I ran for a few years before starting 0 to 1 with my co-founders. And we're different in a way that we we're not a typical outsourcing house. We work on problem statements and we get really what I tell the way we work with clients is with an embedded teams model. So we share your goals, we share your problem statements, and we come at it from an AI first approach right from the beginning. Um, what that does is it helps to build, uh, right size the building of any of your infrastructure based on what the future is going to look like.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's
happy
awesome.
to be
That's
here.
awesome. Thank you so much. Well, you've had an impressive career, helping both startups and large organizations move from idea to impact. What's one thing that most companies overlook in those early stages of scaling?
I think the early stages of scaling is all about getting your first few customers and just doing it right with them. It's not about the interesting thing about early stages of scaling is it's not about scaling. It's about getting things right,
Sure.
right? Scale comes later because once you've perfected the dance with one or two clients, and I'm talking more B2B,
Sure.
it's easier to then replicate it. Um, but if you try to scale before you know how to operate, that always becomes a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have, I'm sure you have many client success stories. Are there any that maybe stands out for you in terms of, data-driven impact in those early stages?
Yeah, we have plenty of them. We've transitioned from just doing data analytics to doing agentic flows within data within the data
Gotcha.
analytics flow. What that
Smart.
what that means is that we've been focusing on building out AI agents that help with retention, with acquisition, with customer engagement. Uh, and that has been really, really helpful for clients who, for example, have a subscription business and they are looking at their churn on a month-to-month basis, or they are looking at their retention rates. Um, Looking at reactivating new clients, reactivating old clients. Um, and it helps what agentic AI does in helping within the context of data analytics um, is that it helps you to really go at a micro level in segmentation. And that can really influence how you are, what your outreach strategy is to with these customers. So we've been very successful in building out these models that have been able to increase retention, reactivate dormant clients, and increase revenue on a month-to-month basis for our clients.
Awesome, awesome. How long have you all been doing that? And maybe I guess you maybe can share any tools or systems that you have found most useful in this transition to really using more, agentic models.
Oh, so we're very agnostic in terms of tools. Um, the idea of agentic models is a combination of the two most important things outside of the LLMs that you're using, because we're not creating any new LLMs, is one, um, how good are you with pointing it to the right data set? And how good are you in giving it the right context and the right set of instructions and a right set of framework? So what we really do well is on the data side and on the framework side, which is what matters the most. The rest is doesn't matter whether we're using OpenAI, we're using Claude, we're using Copilot. It doesn't really matter that much.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay, makes sense. So I guess in your experience, I guess where do most of the software leaders maybe fall short when they're trying to use some of these tools or different data to drive their decisions?
I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would be really presumptuous of me to think that people are falling short. I can't answer that question, but what I can answer is that what we have seen is the best way to do this is to be able to connect um, your LLMs to the right data sets. To first figure out the data strategy and then figure out your AI strategy, not the other way
Gotcha.
around.
Sure. Yeah.
Because uh, because when you don't have the right data sets and you're pointing your LLMs, I mean, AI is not magic, right? It's just basically going to go and give you the output based on what what inputs you're giving it, right? And the inputs in this case are the right data sources, the right framing of the data. And then the other thing that you need to put a wrapper around is really focus on giving context to the LLM, a set of instructions that are really, really important. And not just give those instructions, but also then try to figure out how to validate them and um, keep on testing and improving them. So that's, and I'm sure people are doing that.
Yeah.
Just saying it from our perspective.
Sure, sure. That's a great perspective for sure. Yes, sir. Let's say, as you advise, different startups, let's say you were advising a head of product at a Series A startup. What's one data habit that you'd recommend that they build very early in the process?
I think from a product standpoint, and as I'm speaking as a product manager, um, I think retrofitting for getting, instrumentation is always challenging. I think people sometimes, and it's always the case, right? You're trying to speed up the process, and sometimes you do take shortcuts, and we all do that. But I think that especially now, where you have so many tools to be able to connect to build your products, it's irresponsible not to tag every data point uh, that you are exposing your product to. And the reason for that is because initially it was, oh, I've got like these millions of rows of data. I don't know what to do with it because I have to run these models. Now that's not the case. All you
Yeah.
have to have is data and point an LLM to it with the right set of instructions
Hmm.
and in the right framework, and you get the insights. So having that discipline in instrumenting data from the get-go is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, AI is absolutely reshaping how we analyze and definitely act on the data. I absolutely use it all the time in my M&A work. I use it all the time in my consulting work. When I'm trying to come up with potentially new digital offers and things like that. So it's really fun. Are there any in specific trends that excite you, or maybe even concern you in the future of AI in this space?
I think the one that excites me the most is you know I've been in tech space, but my background was in finance. So like you, and I didn't really get into hardcore coding. I think I now with AI, um, I'm able to code uh, because the only language I need to know to code is English.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's the
true.
most exciting part for me, that I'm
Hmm.
able to prompt and get results and not be dependent on anyone. The challenges are still there. It's still, um, we are still, what we are doing is we're trying to retrofit a turbo engine on an old, internal combustible engine with a
Okay.
a pre nine like with a carburetor on it, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of the stuff that we are doing right now is trying to figure out, okay, how do we retrofit that? Retrofit AI into some of these tools and what the impact's going to be. But that's the challenge, and that's both in a data challenge as well as an engineering challenge.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, me personally, I actually originally went to college with a computer science dreams, and I ended up just dropping out of that because I really did not like coding. So, this is really exciting to, have an opportunity to be able to build things without having to learn how to code in the future. So I definitely understand that sentiment for sure.
Yeah.
Ankur, this has definitely been incredibly insightful, your perspective on how software leaders can use data and AI, as strategic advantage is very really something that every builder should hear. For anyone listening who wants to learn more about Zero to One or connect with you personally, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, you can reach out to me at Ankur at 0 to 1 AI or on LinkedIn. You just DM me on my LinkedIn. I'm happy to reach out, happy to have a chat. Think about anything to do with AI, anything to do with data, anything to do with product. Happy to do that. Yes.
Yes, awesome, awesome. Well, to our listeners, if this sparked an idea or helped you think differently about how you're building, follow the Executive Playbook on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep executing with vision.
Thank you.